Hello, soul friends. This is Mary, and welcome back to my channel. Today's pick a card reading is weird because your guides are weird. And so, being their messenger, I must do what they say. Remember, no matter your individual beliefs, tarot or oracle reading is your spirit guides coming forward to give you advice, or just simply your subconscious mind helping you answer life's ponders. No matter how you look at that, it's healthy. You are in the right place. Today, we're looking at something embarrassing that you did back in the day, or last week, last night, whatever. Something embarrassing you did. Who remembers it, and what was their opinion of it? And what is their opinion of it now? Do they remember it now? It's a weird topic, y'all, but your guides are weird because it came from them. So here we are. We're gonna do it. I'm hoping it's going to be humorous, so maybe try to think about something humorous to make this a lighter reading. Otherwise, it's going to be like, yeah, that time that, the entire town found out that I was, using illicit substances during my tenure as the mayor. It was really embarrassing. Maybe, I could find humor in that, even if it happened to me eventually, I could. But, humor is what we're trying to go for on the show. Lighthearted, humorous things. That's why people get so upset when they want it to be so serious, because I don't like being serious. I get serious if the guides get serious, but other than that, I don't like it when it happens. Okay, that being said, let's go ahead and look at the decks we shall be using today. Group 2, in no particular order. These winter decks are about to be retired for this season. So I promise to get links for them. This would have links for it from last year for sure, but this one, I think I've only linked it once, and I need to get in there. And basically what I do is I zone out for a day and I do little menial tasks like that, like updating my description boxes for links for all these. So my bad for being very, very, everybody's going to get one of these or two of these or three of these or however many I give you in each of your groups. But yeah, eventually I will update those. I just suck at it. I get permission and then I just go for it. And they don't care because at least I show the titles. But yeah, Etsy. I think Etsy or its own little Kickstarter website. I'm not sure. These can be found at Amazon and places that mass produce cards. Okay. Let's look at the stones that you all got. Let's see if I can remember these. These all came with cards. So group 1, you have sodalite, snow quartz, and hematite. Remembered that one. Ooh, this one's hard. It's, oh man, I think it's mother of pearl. Yes. White jade and white agate. Oh, yes, look at me go. And it has a moon charm, which is why I put it up here around this little sun. So yeah, like this little moon. It's kind of cute. There's method to my madness. Blue lace agate and howlite. It's so light. It's crazy. Okay. Yeah, if you like light stones that are natural, howlite is one to go. Agates can get kind of heavy depending on how many of them are in there and how big. Speaking of agates, we have druzy agate and Dalmatian jasper. I'm also wearing some Dalmatian jasper and probably onyx and clear quartz, I'm guessing. Anyway, good times. This is onyx, antique. But anyway, I have quite the jewelry collection, and I should start sporting more of it here and being like, hey, these are priceless to me, but if you pay me enough, I might sell them to you. A lot of things I wear are antique, vintage. A lot of it I got on Etsy, a lot of it I got on Amazon. But anyway, moving right along. So there are all of your stones and your decks. And again, we'll be using that one in each of your readings to see what embarrassing thing did you do and who remembers it and what's their opinion of you now. It's very strange. We'll see you there. Bye. Hello, group 1. So if you picked the snowy quartz and sodalite and hematite, I'll tell you a little bit of what I know about each of these, which is not much. Anything that's blue is, I'm going to automatically think it's for your throat chakra and connected to water element. So you don't have to, stones or whatever you channel them towards. But I am very uncreative, and so I like to look at the traditional meanings of stones to try to get my inspiration. Snow quartz, white, obviously, is about purity. It can be about purification, protection. Hematite is a very grounding stone. It's actually connected to your root chakra. Okay. White, not sure. Probably one of your higher crowns, but don't quote me on that. I'm still learning things. I'm always learning. Okay. And I'm a slow learner, and I don't give a, I don't give a hoot and holler. I was going to say another word that started with S, but I think I'm going to have to start a Rumble channel for that, just in case. I have to secure my future, y'all. You never know. Somebody might decide to start monetizing me for this weird garbage that I put out here for you. My weird ramblings that some of you just like to listen to because you're weird like me, which means that, we're going to get along just fine. All right, so I want to start with Oracle because a lot of times, it says words and sentences that I can understand. Ooh, and then these two, and my table is like moving because, the little wheels are crazy and are clogged up with a million cat hairs, I'm sure. Let's go ahead. I don't care if it's straight for me. I want it to be straight for you. Let's go ahead and look and see what the situation is. What was the fallout from it? And what's going on now? I also want to know who you're most worried about remembering it. Okay. Let me try to make sure I'm getting this. And I need to write it down because my brain is that fried, y'all. The 90s. I did a lot of mistakey things. And I love how I can say that now, like, in the 90s I got crazy, because back in the 90s, we're like, man, our parents got crazy in the 60s, and we thought that was so cool. Some of us thought our parents were cool. Anyway. How many of you, were fans of your parents when you were an adolescent, and then when you got older, you're like, wait. Yeah. That's a fun dynamic to be part of. Okay, so we have what the situation was. Wow. Glad you can't see me writing this. Okay. What was the fallout? Where are things now? And who do you care about that remembers it? And maybe they don't. Like, who you're worried about. I have to sneeze. Yeah, that was my TV sneeze. I have a different one for when people are listening. And one for when I'm by myself and I can just blow spit and snot everywhere. It's great. Okay, we have Serpent number 38. Slither through and out as you shed in preparation for a new beginning. I'm going to read all these before I get into it. We have Devotional number 19. There's something so intimate when letters reflect the tongue in times of introspection, when I am at my most vulnerable and revealing all that lives in me. Well, that was a mouthful, like these cards usually are. I just bought a new deck of these for next month. I'm excited. For Astera. Snowdrops. You got the snow quartz. Weird. Okay, 39. When all seems to stem from the unknown, hold firm in knowing that all will be as it should. I know the OCD ones are already reading this and interpreting it because they kept track of what I just wrote down and I didn't. Winter Besom number 43. Sweep away ill intent while creating boundaries weaved with protection, a which respects passages of safety. Okay. Interesting. Okay. There are all the little brooms that she's got. Just an FYI, and this comes to my knowledge from a wonderful writer who passed away. I think he was passed away by the time I started reading his stuff when I was like 17. So like, and I'm old as F. So like, anyway, his name is, damn it, what is his name? Cunningham. Scott? I think it's Scott Cunningham, but Cunningham is the name you need to remember because I know that one's right. So Cunningham wrote a ton. He was Wiccan. I'm not Wiccan, but he was. And he wrote a ton of books about magic, especially in the 70s and 80s was when he was really rocking. And like he passed away like by the time I started reading his stuff, and that he was who got me into magic. My sister was dabbling and studying about Wicca, and I started reading her books because we were raised to think it was like totally messed up to like do magic. Like this would be Satan. Okay, there's people in my family still that are like, but are you sure you're being safe? You know, that kind of thing. They're trying to be open-minded, but it's hard, you know, and I get it because that fear runs deep. The Christian guilties runs even deeper. And so anyway, some of you might have taken that leap, and that's why I'm talking about this. Because if I'm talking about something personal, it's my empathy reaching out to whoever's listening. That's something my guides keep telling me to channel back into. They're like, you're not a narcissist. I'm like, I kind of am. It's cool though, because, you know, I'm so into myself, it's fine. What else would I be into? All right. Serpent number 38, slither through and out as you shed in preparation for a new beginning. So I feel like some of you, it's almost like this was a whole time period for some. And I know I'm going to get a ton of like storylines for these, and I want to relish and soak in all of them. So this is going to end up being one of those 3-hour videos. I can just feel it. But anyway. And then once the juices start to really flow, then all the clients are going to start to call, and it's just going to be a crazy day. And then Mr. John's going to wake up, and I'll be like, now somebody can hear me and see me. And I still care about impressing him because I'm a freaking gross dork. Anyway, some kind of romantic, I feel like ages like freshman through sophomore or wherever your most immature like teenage years fell into place. I think that the bratty teenager phase that everybody goes through, the angst phase, if you will, is sort of like the terrible twos for toddlers. It doesn't necessarily happen when they're 2 years old for toddlers. It's a 2-year period of terribleness, okay? I have studied this for you. They don't write books about this. I should write a book about this. This is my idea. I'm claiming it now, and I'm never going to do anything with it, but tell you guys about it. Terrible twos lasts 2 years. It can be from 3 to 4. It can be from 1 to 2. It can be 6 months when they cried intolerably when they were 4 months old, and you actually were like, I might do something, help, you know, and you like find out about like calling hospitals when you feel like that because it's actually a thing, right? They can happen to normal people. You know what I'm talking about? Call for help. Anyway, 6 months there of straight crying, 3 months of straight crying, and then, you know, a year and 9 months of them being an absolute terror when they're like 3 and 4. Okay. That's just terrible twos. Terrible teenager time is like 2 years during their teenage years. It can be from 11 to 13. It could be, you know, from 16 to 17. It all depends on what their like spiritual journey is, in my opinion. And that's why I love working with teenagers, because it's like, what stage are you in? Because you might be in an awesome, like, to super open to connect with an adult that you trust stage. And that's a scary time too, because then they're more vulnerable to like people who want to connect with them in a bad way. You know what I mean? So like, anyway, it's a 2-year deal. I'm thinking that this is a 2-year stage for some of you that you're like, that was the most embarrassing stage for me. I can relate. The 90s were crazy, you know, and I was a crazy teenager in the 90s. I was very young. So anyway, I'm feeling that, like this Gen X feeling. And if you're not Gen X, it's okay. It's just if those terrible twos happened for you during your teenage years and you're embarrassed about them, you're definitely in the right pile. That's for sure. I'm not sure if there's another storyline here. I will keep my feelers out for it. But I almost feel like you experimented with like naughty behavior, stuff that you were taught was super bad when you were little. See how she's holding the snake and seeing like the snake? It's almost this like shadow work. Like I'm hearing like that teenage angsty thing. Again, I grew up in Gen X, so this could just be my empathy coming through. But that those cliche things that we did in the 90s was like, oh, everybody's accusing me of doing drugs because of how I dress and the music I listen to. I'm going to prove them right and show them what they were really scared of. Like, wow, that makes sense, kid. Why would you do that? So many of us did that. I'm saying us because I was one of them. So stupid. My brain will never be what it could have been because of me going through those terrible twos when I was about 13 to 15. Okay. And then I'm not going to lie, I did a lot of stuff at 16 as well, and 17. And then I drank heavily for like, another 10 years or so. But anyway, I'm not feeling that for all of you. Some of you might have had a longer road like me, but like just that feeling of that terrible twos time when like you look back and you're like, man, I really thought I knew my shiznitty, right? But now I'm like older, even just at 18, and I'm going, whoa, what? That was like, why was I doing that? Like, how am I alive? That kind of feeling. What did I say? Who did I say that to? Who did I punch in the face? Like, it can get that crazy for some of the people that are in this group. I'm not getting a lot of other storylines. I'm getting a lot of storylines in that vein, though. Like, some of you were relatively tame, but because you've always been in such control and such an empathetic person, like you were nice to your teachers, you were nice to everyone, there were a couple of times you mouthed off, and you can tell it affected that teacher because you were always cool with that teacher. They're like, man, they see me as a human. And when you said whatever you said to them, you saw them go, oh, hurt feelings and disappointed. How awful did that feel? And embarrassing, right? The whole class was like, oh, they reacted to it harder than they would have if the knucklehead that always said really outlandish, awful things about, tampons and like God knows what else, right? Kind of thing. That sort of setting, it could be tame like that, but to you, it was huge because it's all relative. That was the biggest mouth off you'd ever made, right? So I'm getting a mix of that. I'm also getting like that time I mouthed off to, 6 police officers and I had a gun in my hand. And the only reason they didn't shoot me to death was because I was a child. Definitely getting demonetized for how I phrased that. I think there's probably about 6 red flags in that. We'll see if we make it through checks. Who cares? I really need to... Okay, guides, thank you. So you may have heard that little rumble overhead. That was the Life Flight helicopter. We live in the middle of nowhere, so we have a Life Flight helicopter that comes in and takes out anybody that's, probably got anything super serious that requires any hospitalization that needs to be immediate. It would be 50-mile drive for an ambulance through really curvy, dangerous, icy mountains. It's okay, Miss Kittles, and my cat's freaking out. And you might hear the tone in my voice change. So, it's maybe not like life or death situation, but like, we have Life Flight flyovers. So that just flew over. So that's definitely a message for you guys as well. If any of you have an immediate illness, like situation like I do, I have like immediate anaphylactic reactions to things that can close my airway. And there's like thousands and thousands of them. It could be something like that, something that you need to take a pill for, or something that you need to put a bunch of pillows around you on the floor and get down on the floor for. You know what I'm talking about? Like seizures, right? Immediate health issues that can just come on you at a moment's notice. Take note of that. Take note of the things that you have blood pressure issues, and so your doctor says really keep track of your blood pressure. If it gets higher than this, you need to come in, right? Those types of things. I want you all to take a moment and focus in on that real quick. And Lily wants you to as well. I don't know if you can hear her. She's really mad. But I mean, keep in mind, she gets mad every time I'm doing this because I'm not paying attention to her. Okay, so anyway. And I'm in the mood, so I'm talking loud. So yeah, terrible twos. Oh, group one. We're already like, probably like a half hour into this and we're not even past card one. I'm going to keep it in this vein. So if this isn't about your terrible twos of like a rebellious time you spent, I mean, some of us are late bloomers. Some of us went through these terrible twos in college and almost flunked out of college, right? So yeah, I didn't almost flunk out of college, but I did have a rough semester and they put me on on like a probationary semester, right? It was like, hey, you better get your grade point average up or we're gonna maybe highly not think about having you back. Like, okay. So, retake these classes and stop being an idiot. And it's like, okay. And I had to go to therapy to get through that because it was like, it wasn't just me drinking my face off like a fish and not going to class, which was a lot of it, being lazy and just having too much fun when I wasn't in class. But it was also like this weird anxiety that I would get about going to class because I didn't know how to go to college. I shouldn't have gone. It was stupid. The whole thing was a dumb idea. But anyway, that's just me. All right. So I'm feeling that that's the situation. You're embarrassed about a lot of things you did. Just kind of embarrassed of who you were as a person in general. I like this. This is fun. Okay. Some things you might have done that were like serious repercussions, but like you've kind of forgiven yourself because you were a kid. I'm getting that vibe. If you haven't forgiven yourself, most people probably have. I do. Okay. Even if it was like life or death. When you're in the terrible twos of that adolescence, I'm sorry, you might as well be on cocaine if you weren't. And then a lot of us like did cocaine, like it's not a good idea, right? So yeah. I mean, that's why I sound like, I'm still back in the 90s because I never got out of that all the way. I'm still that, let's talk about life, man. And it's like, our spirits and whatnot. It's so like embarrassing to me. And I'm feeling embarrassed. And my past self is like, let yourself out so that they can mingle with the past selves of these people. And I'm like, I don't want to because it's embarrassing. Why does she have a squirrel in her pocket? See, I already have to look at my notes. What was the fallout from it? Devotional. There's something so intimate when letters reflect the time. Okay, I'm seeing some people went to like rehab and had to write those letters. Right? I've never been to rehab, but I know I've watched enough TV that I know they have to write letters. Okay. I have been through a 12-step program that was just personal between me and a sponsor, right? And I doubt would have any merit whatsoever in the medical field of like, hey, you got better, but that's what I did. So there you go. But I know there's like a lot of like, see how she's kind of in a peaceful room. Look at the little skull of this raven on her book. The raven skull is super spiritual. So like look it up for like your own individual meanings, but like what it speaks to me, and I've never actually looked it up too much, is like, I know they're connected to death and I know they're like birth animals for, oh crud, never mind. I can't remember. Oh no, I'm not going to say it because I'll just sound stupid and ignorant. I mix a lot of my Celtic and Native American knowledge together because they're similar and Nordic too. So, and Christianity as well. So like, I know a little bit of a little bit of a lot of all four, but not enough to be an expert in any of them. So you could be a mix of any of those nationalities, and that's just more like indication that you're in the right pile. I think if you're in the right pile, you are by now, so we'll stop saying that. But this shedding of skin and this like new beginning, like I totally associate with death. The skull obviously is going to be associated with death. The little squirrel in the pocket is almost like having like an ace in your pocket, or always being kind of lucky, or not so much being lucky. It's like you take care of yourself just enough to like make it through these that was my elbow, these situations that you got yourself into in these terrible twos. Okay. So like, even though you were super like maybe rowdy or wild, law breaky, A little criminal-y, right? Gangsta-y. Mm. I just had this like flash of this kid that I went to college with who was like from like South. Oh, what do you call it? Oh, what's that terrible area? You know, I'm from the sticks, y'all. I don't know cities very well, except for what I see on TV and people I talk to in college that were from those places. And then the very small amount of travel that I did, where I was like very much working long hours in a central location in those cities. So I didn't really get out much and hang out in the cities, right? But met people that were in those same working conditions that were from those cities. But this guy was from like a really bad area of Chicago, and he was like at my school on like a minority scholarship kind of thing, and like he was like serious as s about his education, and like would just talk circles around anybody in the literary world, which was like uh unheard of, you know, in my white bread society. And so the kids never knew how to act around this guy. But anyway, I just had a flash of him. So like maybe some of you relate to that type of reform. You know, he came from that like really hard background where like even though I don't think he ever partook in like, and maybe I'm wrong, I could be he was just so steady Eddie guy that like I just saw him like staying above anything, you know, like I got into, right? Like I like I got into like I didn't commit it, but there was like gun violence around me, you guys. It got like hairy, and this was in like white rural meth town society, right? A different kind of dark underbelly. It's not the same as the city, but it's just as messed up and like traumatizing, I would say. So anyway, we had kind of a kinship, me and this kid, and maybe you relate to that kind of that ability to connect to people. And I feel like that might be part of your recovery, was like connecting to people who had been through this awful traumatic adolescent past. Because like let's face it, guys, when you're an adolescent and you go through the terrible twos, right? You go through two of those. Toddler terrible twos, teenager terrible twos. I am just saying, it's my theory, it's my channel, it's my idea. I never read about it anywhere else other than just people being like, parents saying it was like the worst days of their life, and they thought for sure that that kid was going to kill themselves or that they were going to themselves because they couldn't stand them anymore. Okay. I'm definitely never going to be paid for this video. So, yeah. But anyway, so many scenarios are running through my mind, but this like recovery of like self-reflection and um self-preservation in a beautiful way of like saving yourself because like the world wouldn't do it for you kind of feeling. And maybe there were, you know, wonderful support people that you attribute to helping save you, but like if you don't have that willingness to save yourself, you're not going to be saved. I don't care who cares about you. Am I right or am I right? Because we're really the ones that are the masters of our own destiny through our choice. So I feel like that's something that you knew that was like the ace in your pocket. And so you had this like self preservation that got you through. And I think you survived where a lot of people, you know, did not, especially on like the longer scale. Like those of you that are old like me, that longer scale of, and or you're young and you just like, you're just one of those young people that watched that many young people around you pass, that many adults pass, right? Because of the dysfunction that might have been around you during that time. I'm feeling that. And I'm feeling like for so many of you, I don't care if you were an adolescent, a lot of stuff happened to you during that time that was not your fault. For sure. Because once you get into that mode and you're out there living that life, oh, there's so many predators out there that are even sicker than we were that would take advantage, you know? And a lot of us lucked out a lot harder than we feel like we deserved. So there's that as well. Whew, moving along. So I feel like the whole fallout from it was like, yeah, a lot of people saw you at your worst, but like you pulled it together and really committed to like recovery or self-improvement or getting out of like past destructive tendencies. And that's the only reason why you're still here today, whether this was last week, okay, or 30 years ago, right? Or more. Okay. How are things now? It says, when all seems to stem from the unknown, hold firm in knowing that all will be as it should. This seems to be some mantra that you've carried forward from here. Some kind of lessons that you learned back here that helped you to here. Like back when, it's hard for me not to go off the rails. I watch movies where the people go off the rails. And for some reason that helps me not go off the rails. I'm like, ooh, that doesn't look fun. You got to find the ones that are very non-glamorous. I'm talking about movies like Requiem for a Dream and Leaving Las Vegas, or my two main, let's keep it under control, Miriam. Let's not do that. Okay. One thing I never did was try heroin, no matter how hairy things got in my life or how experimental I was feeling. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to try that one, because I know for a fact that when people do that one on TV, it goes really bad for them. I've never heard of it going well, right? I only met one person that ever tried it once, and they're like, that was crazy, I'll never do that again. But it was because they had an allergic reaction to heroin. So that's why they never did it again. That's the only one. And they still didn't have a great life afterwards, as far as I know. So, that was something I never tried. That was the little squirrel in my pocket. I really deed around, with different things when I was a kid. I was really stupid. So stupid. And I didn't just dee around with substances, a little bit with people too, right? I was never close with them, if you know what I mean, but I hung out and got loaded with them. I partied with people that I should not have, that could have very easily overpowered me. And I don't understand how that never happened. Okay. That was the squirrel in my pocket, though. There was some kind of little instinct that would kick in that I go, whoa, you're getting too close to the edge, my friend. You need to back it on up, whether it was a person, a substance, whatever. And it got to a point where I had a set limit of things I would try, years that I would do it, and then I would cut myself off. And so I feel like this is something that has carried on for you, that you've gotten some kind of mantra, something that you learned, and you continue to evolve and move forward, even though you do still struggle and you still have pain from those painful years. We all do. Like I said before, if you were an adolescent and your life was hard, or you had those terrible twos in your teens, right? The terrible two teens, and it was horrible, and somebody made it in there and took advantage of you in some way. I don't care who you are, it's part of growing up. It's part of learning. And it could be a betrayal so simple as having a friend, and then you find out they were talking smack about you one night, and you're like, I thought we were friends and they hurt my feelings. It could be something as simple as that. We've all been through that, right? To something as serious as I trusted that person to walk me home, and then that happened to me. It can be as serious as that. So I get it. And it's all in that haze of adolescence, even between 15 and 18. Looking back at 15, I was like, holy schmack. I was out of control. I should really get it together. I'm going to end up in jail forever, kind of situation. That was 3 years, and I was still a kid when I came to that realization. It could be like that, right? But something from that wisdom has created this protective layer around you, where it's yeah, what I'm doing, where I'm still messed up, but what I'm doing works to keep me safe from going back to that place, right? I've shed that skin and moved forward. I continue to shed skin and move forward. We also have for who do you care about, who remembers it now? Okay. I feel like there was somebody, this is very specific to somebody in this group was in love when they were during this terrible twos, and probably it was your first love, right? And they were kind of special and magical in some way. They might have been a sensitive and empath. They seem to know you better than you knew yourself kind of energy. And you lost that person because of like decisions that you made. Maybe you like cheated on them. Maybe you got loaded one night and like went off on them and they never spoke to you again because they were kind of like a Sigma person. See how they're like, she's going out the door, right? So I feel like some of you, this represents, if it wasn't a person, something, the things that were beautiful that were lost because of the decisions that were made back here. And even though it was an innocent time for you in a sense, there's parts of you that regret what could have been because you made those choices, all this protection around, and yet she's still choosing to go out. That also kind of speaks to this like regret to me of, I even knew how to protect myself and I still didn't, or I even knew how to keep a person like that in my life and I still messed it up. That kind of energy, that's specific to some. And I mean, we'll get into that a little bit more about how that person feels. These cards came out for you out of the blue, and so I'm just going to keep them out because they're somehow singularly important to some of you. So some of you, this might be a singular message for clarification here, so we'll just see. And it just says sweep away all ill intent while creating boundaries with protection. I feel like, you have to move forward, and you are, if this was a case of just feeling that regret from the past, and that regret's always just kind of tug at you a little bit. For that person, you were their lesson of how to move on, right? And how to deal with betrayal. Some of you dealt with betrayal in some form, right? And some of you betrayed, right? And that's all right. We all get our turn. I did it too. I have that regret of certain people that I let down, in weird, some ways that would probably startle and shock some of you. Like, no, Miriam, say it ain't so. It's true. So that's what I'm feeling for that. What else am I getting for that, Spirit? Because that was specific. Some of you, okay, thank you. Some of you have learned to protect yourself and to walk away. That goes back into this. You're still hearkening back to that. The people that you care about, for some of you that are embarrassed about them seeing you back then, they've got to witness you going forward and becoming better and protecting yourself. And you've become a source of inspiration to them. So that's a specific message to some of you as well. I know, good luck figuring out which ones you are. I feel like in that case, you're still in touch with those people, like maybe your parents, like that unconditional love is coming through. It's like maybe a partner that stuck with you through all those years, a best friend who maybe didn't go down that same path with you, and you might have even lost track with them or lost touch or had a falling out, and now you're back because they know that you've changed. Okay, that's the two storylines I've got there. Yes, see? So some of you, had to go in and reconcile with yourself, right, to get to that place, like the hermit, right? Some of you had to leave old haunts, leave old people behind, and with this, some people have gotten to see you transform yourself like the magician, using only the tools at your own disposal, because everybody that recovers from something like that knows that you are the key. It's not about doing it for somebody else. It's not, what I'm talking about. Okay, well, let's get you some more tarot. I don't know what this message is supposed to be, but I think it's coming into focus now. Okay. This seems to be advice from your guides about how to move forward from here, honestly, for this group. So I see that temptation can still loom for you, depending on whatever it was that got you into these sticky situations during those terrible twos. Your guides are showing that you still have strength to move through even the scary unknown of the future. Okay. And still throughout all of it, you retain that. There's this youthful innocence about people like that. I feel you probably relate a lot to teenagers. That's probably why I have a soft spot for you in this group, because I worked with teenagers, right? And the reason I worked with teenagers was because I related to them, because of my teenage terrible two struggles, right? And I just happened to be teaching that age group that I was in when I struggled. And got a lot of, enjoyment out of that, and retained like that same, I don't know what it is. It's like this youthful glow or this youthful humor, this a willingness to keep evolving even as you get older. I feel that is something your guides are complimenting you on, and you'll continue this hopped out for you to move forward and make way more progress than most moving forward because of what you fell through on in the past, and those lessons that you learned help you keep that youthful glow and that youthful spirit even now. So it's actually, in a way, that's part of what you can be grateful for going through all that. If it was rough, right, is that you've retained that connection ability. If you've got teenagers, you're probably very good at connecting with them. If you work with them, you're very good at connecting with them, probably, etc. and so forth. So yeah, that's my messages for group 1. My goodness, if this was helpful, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box, my friends. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Hi, group 2. So if you picked the, yikes, mother of pearl, I think it might be moonstone. I could be wrong. White jade, I know that one, and white agate, and the little moon charm. We're going to get into your reading. All about what embarrassing thing are you remembering? Who remembers it? What was the fallout from it? Where are things now? Advice for moving forward. Group 1, of course, got all crazy and serious. What's interesting about your energy is that you picked the moon, which I'm seeing kind of a fear of the future, but also like just a strong intuition. Okay. And then the sun on the cards is also interesting to me. You also picked the Nordic tarot, so like you might have Nordic blood. You might also have some good fortune in your life because of that sun energy that I'm seeing. I want to start with tarot, just to make sure you're in the right group. We're going to get 4 cards. One is going to be what the situation was. The next is going to be the fallout from it. We're going to have where are you now? And then who do you worry the most that remembers it? Yes. Okay. These 2 are still calling to me, so I think that's some clarification. We got that with the tarot cards with the first group, so let's just go ahead and honor that. Okay. We have antlers, number 3. Allow the magic of who you are to be seen by the eyes you keep. You are enough, my dear. Take ease in receiving. I'm going to go through these before we say anything. Peppermint, number 33. Take from me what keeps me held back, clearing myself from all that does not belong in the vision of what is to come. Sacred space, 36. Mundane to eyes not of my own. These sacred responsibilities are mine to embrace. And weather divination, number 42. I trust in what I feel, for what I feel are signs to pay mind to. Interesting. Okay. Ooh. I can't tell what this is. But maybe you can. Interesting. Okay. I don't want to say this in a way that's going to like offend anyone because I don't mean it in a condescending way. Y'all take yourselves very seriously in this group. I don't mean that as an insult. I don't mean that as it's like you carry yourself with honor. You take yourself seriously. You might need to. You might have like a super responsible thing you have to do. Maybe that's why you feel embarrassed. Because you might be held to a higher standard than most. That's definitely coming through. You at least perceive that to be the case. It's almost like you don't have time to sleep. You have to stay vigilant to still lead the way, even with the way you sleep. Lots of pressure. Like, I feel like this situation wouldn't embarrass you if you were just a regular person that wasn't held to those higher standards. So, for example, some areas, not all, but a lot, especially back in the day, but I'm not sure how it is now because I've been out of the loop for a bit, but I was kind of out of the loop before, just different areas. Like, teachers have to be careful what they do out in public because it might reflect badly on them later in their teaching profession, even though anybody else could just do it and it would be no big deal. Same thing with like how they post things. Politicians, civil servants of all kinds come to mind. Any of those ones that require you to keep like a squeaky clean like public image as well as a squeaky clean private image and a professional image, like that's coming through. Some of you, I feel like it's something that is very personal and private and important to you has been revealed. And you're not ashamed of it yourself, this thing in your life that's been revealed. But you know that other people feel like you should be ashamed of yourself. And, like getting outed for being like an ex-drug addict, you're actually proud of yourself because you know what you've overcome, whereas other people are like showing you mistrust now. That's just an example. I'm feeling all kinds of different things, like things I don't even understand because I'm not in that world. So I'm trying to keep it general, but yeah, like you wouldn't be embarrassed of it if everybody thought like you, but not everybody thinks like you. So that some people feel like you should feel embarrassed, and that kind of makes you feel embarrassed, right? I hope that makes sense because I'm going to move on. Other things, there's so many storylines that could go into that, but it's like holding yourself to a higher standard, and your guides are saying that part of your way through this is just like clinging to the fact that you aren't ashamed and you shouldn't be ashamed. Deep down inside, you don't need to be ashamed. Interesting. I wonder what all your different situations are. Okay, so the fallout from this, it says, take me from what keeps me held back, clearing myself from all that does not belong in the vision of what is to come. So I feel like the fallout was like you finding out who your true friends were. They found out the true you, and then some of them were like, don't like you no more. And you're like, well, then you're not my friend or family or whatever. And so I feel a lot of like severing of ties in this card. Lots of painful goodbyes and realizations, disappointments in people because when things like that happen, you never know which ones are going to actually stand by you when the chips are down. It's almost never the people that you think it's going to be or that you hope it would be. And it hurts so damn bad, but it makes you appreciate the ones so damn much who did come through for you. So that's the fallout that I feel. Lots of transformation, painful change, but necessary change. Also, the white stag leads the way in a spiritual sense. So you are following your spiritual path. If any of you are wondering if you're on the right course, if you made the right decisions, if the goodbyes you made that were so painful were not a mistake, right? And your guides are saying that you absolutely did the right thing. Making a sacred space for yourself. So where are they now? I think a lot of people are seeing the truth about where you are in your fallout and recovery from all this. Okay, that you've created a sacred space for yourself. I don't see you making apologies. I don't see them seeing the struggle inside that you had of maybe you made the wrong decisions. Okay, so they aren't thinking of you as like a loser off somewhere doing bad, horrible, failure-y things. They actually see you being quite secure in like yourself. And I feel like you are. I just feel like it doesn't always feel like that for you. And I'm here to tell you that you're more centered than most. Even though it doesn't feel like you are, you're at least conducting yourself in a way that makes it seem like you're like this to other people. The people that remember the situation don't see you wallowing. They don't see you hiding your head in shame, but they do see you sort of withdrawing from public and just creating a sacred space for yourself. And I feel like that is actually what you're doing. Some of them have seen this firsthand because they stayed in your circle. Others, that's just what they picture is going on because that's the energy that you rock. So even when you don't feel like you're like this, that's what people think you're doing. Weather Divination 42. The ones who remember, the ones who you are worried about. I trust in what I feel, for what I feel are signs to pay mine to. I feel like you are you're always going to feel the stuff that hurts from this. It's like the goodbyes you had to make, the people who disappointed you, and none of that's ever really going to go away, right? But I'm seeing that you've broken through a lot, that you're letting go of a lot of negativity, that things needed to happen this way so that you could let go of that negativity and move forward. The people who are still aware and or worried that you worried about are a lot of people, most of the people that you know. I feel like this was a very public embarrassment of some kind, but like deep down inside you know that it's nothing that you should feel embarrassed about. I know that's such a strange, but you know, obviously if you feel like you're in the right group, it should make perfect sense to you. But yeah, just letting go of so much and redefining yourself. You know that tons of people remember, tons of people are affected. Some of them are affected by it in ways that they didn't need to be because they were butting into your business, basically. Let's see what these two clarifiers are all about. Devotional 19, there's something so intimate when letters reflect the tongue in times of introspection where I am at my most vulnerable and revealing all that lives in me. Okay, a couple of specific things came through with this. People that remember, there could have been people that wrote you a letter, like a weird resentment letter about how you affected them in some way. And you're not owning that, but they want you to own it. So that came through specifically for some. For others, your guides are saying to help work through those resentments that you have for the people that you do still worry and wonder about, to write them goodbye letters if you can't go speak to them directly yourself. You might want to go speak to them directly yourself or write them a, victim impact statement of some kind is coming into my mind. This could be an actual one or just a spiritual, psychological exercise that you do for yourself, and then you burn the letter or rip it up. I like to just write them in like a color note on my phone, and then I blow on the screen as I hit delete, and imagine it either evaporating, going off into the ear of the person that needs to hear these things that I can't speak to because they're no longer with us, or because they won't talk to me, or whatever, right? Or I don't want to talk to them. That kind of energy could be something that your guides are telling you to do in the face of those that you still worry about that you cannot control. And then we also have blackberries number 8. There is no weaving with existence when you ignore the presence of spirit within yourself. Ooh. So your guides are saying to reflect on this spiritually as well, not just socially. Interesting. So that was a very specific message for some and not all also. So like if you've created this sacred space, really get into more of the spiritualness of it. And this might, I don't like doing it, right? One of the things I hate doing is my Qigong exercises. I hate doing them. I hate doing them. And so then I quit doing them, and then I get sick, and then I have to start over again. It's so stupid. I could have been better by now, maybe, right? But I keep doing that to myself. Okay, let's get your tarot. This ended up just being some overall, like, information from your guides about how to move forward, advice on where you are now. 4 of Pentacles, Strength, interesting. 2 of Swords. Okay. The Empress. And King of Wands. Okay. So what I'm getting here from your guides, and this is very much moving forward energy, they're saying basically that you've created stability for yourself, that you were never really unstable. People just found out about personal information that was not their business anyway. You have the strength to overcome it. You don't have to act out or do anything. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to apologize. I feel like a lot of you are rocking that. Okay. Just, it's like a stalemate. You're not going to let somebody come and get one over on you, but you're also not going to come and slay them in the night, right? That's the message there. The Empress, some of you have a pregnancy or a child to consider now, and that is what your guides are saying that you're doing right. Others just bask in your own independence and your own abundance and your own luck, because you've actually had quite a bit. Remember, we're hearkening back to that sun energy. So like, I do feel like, man, this is kind of late in the reading to get this message, but it's almost like you had something really wonderful happen to you. Like you won a lot of money, or you inherited a lot of money, or you became very notarized where you are. And you've been like met with hatred and betrayal from those who you thought would be happy for you. And you're like, oh, you actually didn't want to see me succeed. You want to see me fail. And even to the point where you want to sabotage me. That just came through. Your guides are saying that, just protecting yourself but not lashing out is the best course of action. And you've been doing that. You're strong enough to do that. You're stable enough to do that. You'll be rewarded for it and admired for it. Thank you. And then for some of you, this is going to attract a mate or falling in love with someone. Gross. For others, this little rabbit thing going on. For others, you're going to fall back in love with the people who stood by you in this hard time. And your guides are saying to cherish them, to recognize the luck that you have in having them in your life. Use protection if you don't want, a baby bump, y'all. Just saying, I always throw that in. And then, yeah, emotional stability, wonderful things coming through. And that I shall leave you. If this is helpful, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. My friends, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Hello, group 3. So if you picked the cute little halite and lace agate bracelet with a little heart, I feel like this is going to be an emotional situation that, like, beyond just the emotion of like embarrassment or something, there's like more emotion locked into it than that. This card popped off the bottom for you. You're just going to have to trust me that that's what happened when I was off camera with you. So I'm just going to honor that message, and we're going to look at that first, and then we're going to get into your oracle cards about what's going on. 10 of coins. So this could be definitely something that is connected to family. I'm feeling very, 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 very traditional family value type stuff. Like you're the golden child, and then your mommy and daddy, whichever one you're worried about more, found out you were a naughty, naughty boy or girl. And even though you're like an adult, right, it still feels like that little kid. I'm in trouble. Mom and dad know I'm bad for real. For real, they know I'm bad. Aw, that's so sad. I forgive you already. You know, I don't have the same expectations as your family do, man. You know, I just don't. You know what I'm saying? So I forgive you already. Drink that in if it makes you feel better. Whatever that counts for, right? We'll get into some more tarot after we get into some more oracle. Okay. So yeah, it definitely feels family related. It also could be like a money thing because the 10 of coins is about money. Notice the little woodpecker is very, very much a symbol of devotion to family, to the point where like you would die for them. And when people are like, who cares what your family thinks? You're like, don't say that. They're my family. Not to make fun of you. I'm just laughing because the feelings are so hard. I get it. You know, I'm laughing because there's no talking you out of it. Right? I'm laughing because I used to feel like that, but I don't anymore, and I'm free of that feeling. So I'm not laughing because like, ha ha, you're still suffering. I'm not. It's like laughing because I'm not suffering anymore. It's a relief laugh. So there's that. That's all coming through. It might be. And like the hurt, that little hurt of feeling like responsible. And like there's a weird responsibility to highlight, and a strange, cool, calm responsibility with like the blue lace agate. I feel like, because like blue lace agate, it's not really lacy looking to me. It's very strong circular bands that go around the stone. I feel like you are the steady one in the family. You're the one that's held to a higher standard. You're the golden child. You're the one with all the pressure. You're the one who, you know, like maybe you weren't the squeaky wheel, so you didn't get the grease, right? Nobody paid attention to you because you were steady Eddie and everybody else was going along. Some of you names might be Eddie or Edie or interesting. I don't usually get name vibes. Okay. All right. Some of you might feel like that like house looks like where you grew up or something. The house that you lost. What? Okay. Let's get you some oracle. I want 4, please. Wow. Okay, you guys. Group 4, y'all better calm down. So this is your 4th card, and then I got all these for clarifiers. That's just something fun that's been happening with a couple of the groups here. It's cool. It's cool. We'll roll with it, y'all. Okay, so here we go. The only thing that gets me through February are these beautiful winter cards, because February's weird, and then I have to do Valentine's Day readings. I don't even have to, but I just do because of the holiday thing. I'm such a weirdo. Okay, so the way this is going to work, y'all, is we're going to do what the situation is, so you know you're in the right group if you haven't figured it out already. Okay. Fallout from the situation. Who do you care about remembers it or is worried? No. Where are we now? And then who you cared about that still remembers it, that's affecting you in some way. The people that are involved, whatever. That's a weird flipping card right here. And then clarification, and then we'll get tarot for like whatever close up things your guides want to say to you about it. It's been very random. I'm going to read these all before I say my analysis. We have candle dressing at number 12, sharp as nails, engraving my will, intentions spoken, declare what will be. Okay, for some of you, this family thing that happened, you were 12. So this is like a distant. Oh. Okay, I'm going to throw this out before I lose it. A specific message. It was like you did something when you were 12 and you got demonized for it, and you really shouldn't have because you were 12. Okay. I feel like, somebody caught you doing something very sinful and naughty when you were little, but I'm talking like shaming a kid for doing natural things is what's actually coming through, and you probably are aware of that now, but it still affects you, and you still have to carry that shame around your family. And that's a specific message coming through. It's not the only message coming through, but I had to pop that out there. Okay, we have amethyst number 1. Go where your spirit dwells, where your sight is clear and your breath is liberated. This is the fallout card. So how things fell out, what happened as a result of this. River rocks number 34. Go with the current, dear ones. Find peace in letting go. Let life wash over your soul and welcome your becoming. Some of you are 34 years old now when you're watching this. Just a specific message for some. Some of you stacked up rocks like this when you were little, not knowing what that meant. I still don't really know what it means. Where are you now is what this card is about. Where are you and where are they now? And then this is like who they are. Coming of spring number 15. Beneath my feet stir the waking, spiriting surges of warmth that tell of life ready to birth. Use protection. Those of you that don't want babies. Okay. I thought this embarrassing thing was going to be lighthearted and funny, you guys, but it's all getting so serious. But that's okay. That's what your guides want you to focus on. That's what we'll focus on. We'll get to these in a minute. So for those of you that did something embarrassing when you were 12 and everybody found out and it demonized you forever, some of you I think got caught like doing a spell or a ritual of some kind. But like there's some kind of, I'm just going to throw it out there because it's there, some kind of like shamefulness around sexuality of some kind. So like maybe you were playing some kind of a game when you were a kid, like, you know, how kids do funny things with their dolls sometimes, and then you catch them and they get really embarrassed kind of situations, or catching them reading something risque or, you know, graphic in a POR, you know, sort of way with an N. Okay. Those types of things. I feel like there was like intense shaming around it. Intense at the age of like 12 or like in that formative time. Okay. That definitely came through in the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and run through that storyline first. Where the fallout ended up, I see you making peace with your own spirit. Like maybe it was like a taboo thing to your family because of traditional things, but you know, like maybe you know, aren't straight and they are very traditionally straight, right? Some kind of taboo in that way, right? Being labeled in some way and then breaking that mold and having everyone catch you. They thought that they had you figured out, but they're not. You know, alternative lifestyle stuff is coming into play here. Not all, though. Some of it I feel is like very normal things that kids would normally do when they start going through like puberty, and you might have gotten caught, and the shame that was involved was like super to the point where it's carried over into like what the adults see about you now. All right. You know, like maybe somebody got caught at school, you know, those types of things. And I feel like you now know, you know, and that the fallout very quickly for you was that deep down inside you knew you had done nothing wrong. That the people that caught you just have their own hang-ups. It was about them, not about you, kind of thing. As far as where everything is now, that situation helped still inside of you. Notice how her hair is the same getup. It's like the same person, but younger then and older now is the vision that I'm getting here. that you kind of move forward in this intuitive way of not denying yourself and who you are, even what you were discovering about yourself back then, and how shameful that was for certain people. You feel no shame now, and you continue to move forward, and that's where you are now. The coming of spring, I feel like there's this little tug in my heart, like older people in your family might have passed away, like thinking you were bad, right? Because you never repented for what you did, right? And it could be something like, not even, oh my gosh. All right, personal story time. I'm just doing this for an example. Like, religiously, like, it got really strict the older in the generations it got with my family, and the strictness was of a Christianity flavor. So it went from like me being like pretty much agnostic and dealing with like mysticism and Christian mysticism and Judeo mysticism, and just seeing how those all mix together, right? My parents were more like non-denominational Christian, so they didn't believe in all the uptight rules of each denomination of Christianity, but they still believed in Christianity, right? And then their parents were like denominational. You had to be Protestant, right? Or you whatever, right? And so there's people in the older generations in my lineage who passed away who would be thinking that this whole situation is like demonic and I was like going to go to hell for this, etc. and so forth. And to the point where some of them have gone to their graves not knowing that this is what I do now, right? And some of them that are still alive think that maybe I'm going to go to my grave and go to a bad place because I'm doing what I do now. You see what I'm saying? That's an example, right? So I feel like that weight for some of you. Some of the people in your life may have passed away or will pass away feeling like you're on the wrong path and that you're not going to meet in the afterlife because you didn't follow a certain thing, right? For some of you, it might be you won't ever talk to this person in this life again because they've disowned you because of this stuff that they caught you doing, right? Heavy, sad, not cool. The people that you're worried about are the ones that are in that category, for whatever category you're in with this, okay? But certainly with that category of being caught doing something when you were young. Is there any other storyline here? Is that it, Spirit? Yeah, it definitely feels like lifestyle and like the little devil horns, you know? Like they put those on you, but then you kept them because you're like, this isn't even about the devil. This is about, you know, a horned god who's actually benevolent and good. Ooh, spicy. That was specific. The little magpies on the branch. What are all the little magpies about? I assume those are magpies. And like they are saying the coming of spring. So I mean, like there's just some things you have to put to bed to move forward. Like, and I think your guides are saying it's time to let go of like that guilt that you, that little twinge of like guilt that you feel of like, I don't feel it when I'm doing this because this feels so satanic in my mind from what like the girl that was brought up in the 80s would have thought when she saw somebody break these suckers out. I would have been like, oh my gosh, and I would have ran away and told like the people at church immediately that there was somebody that was worshiping Satan, right? Satan. But anyway, put that part to bed is what they're saying. Like bury that part, whatever that thing is, right? The part of you that still feels like, I feel it when I see like an In This Moment concert and I think, what would my grandmother think if she saw me here right now? Like right when the show really starts getting going, you know, and the backup dancers come out. And all you hear is like bass and weird synthesized like spookiness and there's like fog. Right? What would my grandma's head do? It would explode. Okay, that kind of thing. I feel that then that little kid part of me goes, oh no, the shame, for some reason. You know, and then I laugh because I know it's silly. Your guides are saying to laugh and move forward in some cases, okay? I'm not feeling a ton of other storylines. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the clarification cards. I have no idea what these are going to be about. Snowflakes number 40. Every moment is a sacred gift, a blessing you shouldn't take for granted. Okay, I feel like there's a including finding knowledge of yourself and maybe being demonized for it, but moving forward because you know that that's the way to go, right? Okay. Dawn number 18. Slow it down. Move slower still. Become the witness swelling in presence. Interesting. This is like saying to reflect what you're becoming because oh my gosh, I love these cards. Some of you, if it's not too big of a trigger for you, you need to go down to the store and get some tobacco of some kind and light it on fire outside. I just would get like a pack of cigarettes and take the filter off. I'd probably just get some Pall Malls unfiltered because I don't want to take a little puffy drag of that. But puff that off to your ancestors a little bit. Might feel nice. Some spirit animal energy coming through here. Some as above, so below energy. Your guides are saying that you honored them by sticking to your authentic self, even if there was people in the physical world that did not understand. Please trust and know that as their souls evolve, even in the afterlife, that some will come to understand that you are not sinning or being bad. So take comfort in that. Whether divination number 42, I trust in what I feel, for what I feel are signs to pay mind to. Yes, you're just coming into your own and respecting what you have come into. Alrighty, let's get some more tarot for you. Ooh, somebody just said it's not your job to be the calm, steady one all the time for your family. Okay, that just happened to come through. 4 of Cups. 9 of Pentacles. The Emperor. The Empress. Okay. I feel 2 more. All right. We have 2 of Wands and King of Cups. Okay. Some of you are moving into a partnership of very, very strong understanding and emotional yumminess, which is disgusting. Just so gross, but enjoy yourselves. Gross. That's coming for you. Congratulations. After a time of you coming into your own, okay, so you finding yourself in this struggle, this embarrassment from way back when is how you're going to find your soulmate. It's how you're going to find yourself, and then finding yourself is how you find your soulmate. Your romantic soulmate, because I believe in more than one soulmate. After a time of more self-discovery, right? Feeling like you're all alone in the world, that no one understands you, including your own family, etc., right? But that's all happened for a reason. That shame that was brought upon you is what somebody's going to be like, that's my person, because of them having that. Okay. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave you because it's going to get gross and I don't want to deal with that. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. Group 3, it was good and then it got gross, but congratulations. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, group 4. So if you picked the Druzy Agate and Dalmatian Jasper. Jasper is always a grounding stone. It's got some fire energy in it because of the mix of things. I believe it's got some water energy as well, but I could be wrong. Agate definitely has water energy. I want you to focus in on this one in particular because I feel like that's like a little protective eye watching over you at this time. So you might feel like you need some spiritual protection at the moment, or just protection against anything that's yucky in the spiritual sense. Before we get into your tarot, I am going to look into your overall energy with some oracle cards. This card, however, just topped off for you. So let's go ahead and look at that. King of Cups, emotional stability. Okay, so this could be a romance situation, which is super gross. Something embarrassing that happened to you romantically. It could also be something embarrassing that happened to you that in regards to a father figure or some masculine energy that you really look up to, who seems like you can't live up to them enough. That's coming through already. So let's also look at some more information on if you're in the right group, as well as what the fallout has been, what the situation was, who remembers it, and where everything is now. Not necessarily in that order. Thank you. Clarification card. I'm only feeling those two. Okay. Let's look and see what the situation was. We have Sacred Space 36, mundane to eyes, not of my own. These sacred responsibilities are mine to embrace. So I feel like in some cases, some people found out a secret of yours, but let's just keep moving on. Grimoire number 24, keep what is sacred near to you, for it is only to be shared when you are ready. Interesting. Okay. Peppermint number 33. Take from me what keeps me held back, clearing myself from all that does not belong in the vision of what is to come. And North Star number 32. I am an embodiment of what I seek, walking with purpose while focused on my path. Clarifications. We'll get to those in a minute. Okay. So we have what the situation was, what is the fallout from it, where are things now, and who was involved that you still wonder about. Okay. So with the Sacred Space card, I feel like some of you had a secret. But this is what's interesting about your secret. And I'm not going to get into all the ins and outs of secrets. Like, I'm getting things from like having an affair to having a whole different lifestyle, a whole different life apart from the people who are involved. So it runs deep. What's interesting about this secret is that I feel like it has not come to light yet for the people who are in this group. So if you are embarrassed because your secret got out, maybe stick around and see if there's something here for you. But for the most part, what I'm getting from this group in particular is that people didn't find out the secret. And just thinking about them finding out makes you feel embarrassed, which is interesting. Or there's something about it that they didn't find out the whole truth about it. Like maybe part of it came out, but you kind of, it's almost like, okay, yeah, I had a crush, but we only kissed once and then nothing ever happened. I turned him down, but really like it was like a year and a half that you were like sleeping with that person. I don't know if that's that specific, but that's just an example I wanted to throw out. Just to give you an idea. I don't know if that, I was trying to come up with like a really scandalous like secret. But you see how like part of that wasn't as bad as the other part. Like that kind of thing is kind of what I'm feeling like. Maybe they didn't get the whole truth. And you feel like kind of like you got away with something, but at the same time you kind of don't, because it could still come out. Sleeping with one eye open kind of energy, things slow moving, creating a sacred space, like a sacred space to hide your true authentic self or hide what you did that would make you feel embarrassed if people found out. So the fallout of that is like you having to keep things very near and dear and close to your vest. You might still have to do little cleanup lies here and there to keep that old energy. Like it could be like the energy of, oh man, I don't want to say this, but it happens. I'm not saying this happened to any of you. I'm just saying this does happen out in the world. Like having a kid and then realizing that or knowing that whole time that it's not the biological child of the person that you're with, but you haven't told them, right? Or you both know, but you haven't told the kid situation, or you adopted a kid and you never told them, those kinds of things. Um, like I don't feel like it's like something that would convince everybody in your life that you're a bad person if they were open-minded enough to know where you're coming from, but like I feel that it would look bad to people if they found out, or at least you feel like it would. Okay, so that's what I'm picking up for the situation. And like what the fallout is, like it hasn't totally fallen out. Like there's been things that were kept in the shadows. So if they found out parts of it, that was bad enough, and you really don't want them to find out the rest, right? Or they just haven't found out at all. Where things are now, your guides are kind of seeing like where they should be with this card, because I feel like we're still very much in this mode, which is not moving forward because there's things that haven't been said. Some of you, your guides are saying to come clean. If you can't let go of what happened to move forward without coming clean, you might have to come clean. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but something needs to be forgiven within yourself or brought to light within yourself to be able to move forward. I'm not going to tell you what that needs to be. For some of you, your guides are saying it, you need to come clean about it to some people, and that might be, that might cause endings to occur, and you might know that, but it would be the right thing to do. Okay. And I'm not specifically seeing this as being an affair. It could be something like more minute than that, but to you, it's big. It's a big lifestyle thing. So the people who are involved, they don't know they're involved yet. So you have no idea of knowing how they're going to react if you don't come clean in a lot of cases. Oof. For some it could cause, some damage for sure. But at the same time, it's like in some cases, it's like either dig deeper or claw your way up. Oof, y'all. I don't envy people that, because that's a rough spot to be. I feel like your guides are saying to follow your higher self, to do what you know is right. For some of you, that might feel like I can't ever tell them. The damage would be too great. I can't tell you what to do. Like that might be the case. I don't know. I maybe I've been in a situation that, yeah, I guess I've probably been in like family situations where you get to a point where you're like, it would have been better not to say anything. Like it would have been less damage not to say anything. I don't know. I always feel like so stuck on like, but everybody should deserve to know the truth of what is happening, especially if it affects them. So there's that too. Those are all things you're having to wrestle with, my friends. I don't envy you that. Let's look at some clarifiers here for you. Swan number 41. I am everything I seek. The one I am meant to trust above all else to create one of the strongest loves within my lifetime. You do need to love yourself best. I feel like this situation, if handled in the way that your higher self wants you to handle it, that it could end up leading to you becoming more of a beautiful person on the outside as well as in. Interesting. Snowflake number 40. Every moment is a sacred gift, a blessing you shouldn't take for granted. Even your mistakes, I feel, is something that's coming through there. There's a lot of animal energy in these cards that aren't always apparent, so I like to zoom in. Part of, who you are your mistakes. They help shape you to who you are. What you become is up to you. It can be beautiful or it can be more wretched and ashamed, right? part of feeling unashamed is unburdening yourself from the truth or with the truth, like saying something, being honest, or forgiving yourself and moving forward with your silence. I mean, there's only two ways to go forward with that, I guess, is kind of what I'm getting. Some of you are going to take this to your grave, and I'm not here to judge you for that. But if you're going to do that, you got to figure out a way to forgive yourself to move forward. And that looks however it's going to look to you. Your guides are saying that even this wretched time, it feels wretched inside for a lot of you. And I'm just using that word because that's what word, I don't use that word generally. Your guides are kind of saying that to me. No one is below salvation. However salvation looks to you, or forgiveness, however that looks to you. So find it, right? Let's get you some tarot. I thought this was going to be funny. It's not. Oh, this card. That's funny. You had another card pop out earlier and I forgot about it, and it somehow flipped itself around and put itself back in there for you to see it. That's kind of the quit beating yourself up card. Like, it isn't all on you. Even if you created all this on you, you can't maintain it. So you're going to have to let go of some things. You aren't necessarily going to lose the most important person to you if you come out with the truth for some of you. I don't want to say which ones because I don't want to be held responsible for that. But yeah, the truth needs to come out. Justice needs to be done for some to move forward. The sooner you do it, the better you'll feel in some cases. Oof. In some cases, staying silent is your only option, but you need to forgive yourself to move forward. This is going to take time for all of you. I'm not sure if that's, I would say pertinent to all situations. This is going to take some time. You're still in the throes of this. This isn't like even if this is something that happened long, long ago, it has been with you all these years. And it's still going to keep being there as you try to move forward to work through it. The sooner you do, the sooner you'll be free. But it's just, some of you are on a timeline, of it being on the time that it's going to be for you. So don't beat yourself up if it takes you longer, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And this is all leading to a higher understanding of yourself, a higher forgiveness level for yourself, making it to a better place spiritually and emotionally with yourself, forgiving yourself. And stepping up into a new power. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comment section. Give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box, my friends. I forgive you. Forgive yourself and take care. Bye.